Hey gang, Spada here. Today we are taking a look at Human Alliance, Sergeant Noble, Tailpipe, and Pinpointer. And here is the packaging. It's a standard packaging. There are words. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at the figure. Here we go. We are taking a look at Sergeant Noble at this point. And, well, yeah, he's a Human Alliance figure. He has probably one of the worst paint jobs on all of them. And the fact that well, I don't know how well you can see that, but it looks like he's got, his eyes are bugging out of his skull. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at this guy. This is the Target Master that comes with it, and I haven't been able to tell. Is this one Pinpointer, or is this one, is this one Pinpointer or is this one Tailpipe? I think this one's Pinpointer, but he is packaged in his gun mode. To get him out of the gun mode, reach around back and just flip out his legs and kind of just fool around with his backpack a little bit to form these giant fists, even though it looks like he's got little arms here. Those aren't arms, but there are his giant I'm going to punch you now fists. And then you can just kind of lower, or just put the double mini cannon on his back. So he's actually he's not that big. He's actually shorter than the Human Alliance figure, but he's very, very cool and very compact. And this is what the mini-cons from the Power Core combiners should have been. Something that's got some nice paint apps and some real definition, even though his face is all black. But he's very cool, very good looking, very, very unique, I think. Just a cool little dude, cool little bot. So let's go ahead and take a look at Tailpipe. Tailpipe is packaged in robot mode. And I gotta admit, I kind of dig this robot mode. It looks very similar to one of the Generation 2 motorcycles, one of the laser cycles that was released. Unfortunately, the articulation is a little bit limited because of, well, just because. His head is on a swivel. It looks like it's on a ball joint, but it really isn't. It just kind of swivels back and forth, so he's always looking down. Arms, there's a ball joint in the shoulder, but it is somewhat limited due to the paneling here. Then there's a double hinge joint for the elbow, and then a ball joint and a swivel joint at the wrist. So you can get some decent poses out of the arms. The legs, however, ball joint in the hip, and then what looks to be a double joint is actually a single joint, because there's a joint here, a swivel joint here in the upper thigh, but it only can go flat, and then there's a ball joint on the knee, but the knee is very limited. And then he's got some nice heels here. Interesting claws here. When he's packaged, or when he's actually in the box, his feet are packaged like this, so you just open them up. That's it. Unfortunately, posability is severely hampered by this monstrous backpack, which contains the wheels, the muffler, and pretty much the entire bike assembly. So even with the heels, or these large heels, it is limited in posability simply because it is very top-heavy. But it's not bad, because actually I don't mind it because it looks good in robot mode. I think it looks really cool, especially when he's got this little pinpointer here just following around. It just looks pretty darn nifty. The way Pinpointer is packaged is meant for him to be plugged directly into the motorcycle mode for Tailpipe. But Tailpipe can wield Pinpointer in robot mode. What you do is you actually rotate the legs around 180 degrees, and then rotate the hips around 180, and then you rotate the legs around 180. And then you just transform him as you would back into gun mode, and you just set him up. Now, when you are pulling him out of the packaging, this, which will be the handle for Tailpipe, is actually sticking up here on top of the original mode. So he can hold him. However, this really makes the figure top-heavy, and I can't really pose him all that well, because, well, I suck at posing figures, and, okay, he's not going to fall over right now, but he might any second. But he looks good, and I think the fact that he can wield him in robot mode is definitely a bonus. So this is the weapon mode, and I'll be honest, I don't care for this weapon mode. I think this is a dumb weapon mode. It's supposed to be like a saw of some sort. This weapon mode isn't for me. So I've returned Tailpipe to robot mode, so we can do a full transformation from robot mode to motorcycle mode. Here we are going to first just take the heel spurs and the feet, collapse them together, and then fold them up behind the legs. Then we'll take the arms, rotate the fists, or the lower arms, around 180 degrees, like that. Take the entire back section, we'll fold the tailpipe down, then take the wheels and accordion them out so that they're above the arms, and then just fold them down like that. Next, we're going to take the tailpipe, get your finger right in here, and just pull back like that, and that will split the middle body apart, as you can see. Then we can take this whole section behind the robot head and fold it up, and that will collapse the robot head into the chest, thus forming the gas tank of the motorcycle mode. Then we will fold this whole section forward, take this back piece and just fold it straight down flush, and kind of just collapse it back in upon itself. So there's a lot of collapse, unfolding and collapsing happening here. For the legs, we will fold them up like he's going into a fetal position. Oh, and that leg keeps breaking off. And then connect them together, and that will form the rear of the vehicle. Then we'll fold the tailpipe down like that and push it towards the back. Now, this wheels will only turn in one direction. They had the forethought to prevent it from turning another direction, so the front wheel will always turn towards the front. So we'll do that, and then push this whole section. These wheels actually collapse really nicely and get in line with everything. So it looks like things won't line up, but when you fold this hinge up, things will line up. And the same thing will happen here when you fold that hinge down just to get it out of the way so that you can get everything lined up. And it really lines up nice and easy. There's not a lot of fidgeting. It's not like trying to get panels together. So the next thing we'll do is what's left with the robot arms, kind of put them down to the side like that and fold them in, and then you can fold the robot arms just down and out of the way. And this is my only complaint about vehicle mode, is the fact that you've got the robot arms sticking off the vehicle mode, which it looks stupid, but there's not much you can do about it. I'm not going to fret about it. It's not that big a deal. It is a little silly, but I will admit, when you put Pinpointer onto him, and the way I got Pinpointer in this mode was just taking him from the way he was packaged, like that, just opening the back up, folding the gun back, and then folding that up and getting his legs in position. When you attach Pinpointer to the back of the vehicle, and let me tell you, it doesn't go in easy. It does not go in easy at all. He becomes very, very top-heavy. So what I like to do is just kind of lean the fist down a little bit so you've got an extra little balancing point, so you can have them on your shelf displayed like that. And it works. It works. So overall, yeah, he's a little fidgety with robot mode and vehicle mode, but I really, really like both modes. And I'm really happy that I got a hold of him. I love Pinpointer. I think Pinpointer is great. He is a little bit difficult to deal with when trying to plug him in to the holes back here on the back of the motorcycle. I'm just going to have to take a little bit of not even a Dremel tool, just maybe my X-Acto knife and make these holes a little bit larger, or maybe just shave off bits from the connector points here. But together they look really good, and when you get the human figure on here, it looks good. I'm just not going to bother with it in the review. Weapon mode is stupid. I'm sorry, weapon mode is just dumb. But the figure as a whole is really nice. It's unique, and you know, these Human Alliance figures are really knocking it out of the park. I really like these things. They work, they look good, and they're cheap. I mean, parents love, and in this economy, especially in this economy, having cheaper, smaller figures that are really, really cool and work really well is nice. So far, the larger figures, I mean, I like Megatron and I like Skyhammer and Shockwave from the Voyager line, but some of the other Voyagers are not so much. But, you know, these Human Alliance figures are just knocking it out of the park, and this is another good entry into the Human Alliance line. I really recommend picking up Tailpipe with Pinpointer and Sergeant Noble. He's a really neat figure. He really looks unique. The fact that he doesn't have a face is a little bit annoying. Maybe he does. It's just really hard to see. But he's a solid entry into the Human Alliance line, and he deserves to be picked up. So if you see this guy, go ahead and get him.